Yes, we're starting with hockey.
Okay.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to Sportsbet Daily. Friday here, heading into the weekend, and we have a fully packed show for you guys, covering NHL, esports, some Chelsea team news, and finally, Alex is coming in with 3 weekend trebles, not to be missed. Going to start the show though with NHL. Obviously, Stanley Cup Playoffs are just around the corner, and who better else than to talk about it is our NHL expert, Adam Booth. Hello, Adam. How are you doing?
Hello. Great. Having a busy Friday here, but looking forward to the turn of the seasons, I guess. The regular season ending on Saturday
Uh-huh.
and playoffs starting on Wednesday.
Yes. I have to say, NHL is one of the ones I'm still sort of learning about. But the Stanley Cup playoffs, I do watch. My husband being Canadian, he is from Vancouver. You yourself are Canadian. Which part of Canada are you from?
Um, well, I'm a bit embarrassed to say it at the moment. I'm from Edmonton, and the Oilers have had a bit of a playoff drought for the better part of the last 15 years. So I have to, and I end up rooting for all the teams that sort of don't exist within the Oilers sphere. So I don't cheer for Vancouver. I don't cheer for Calgary. I got to stick away from those teams.
Now, obviously, we're Sportsbet Daily is European facing, and so I'm not sure, if people know sort of the format or whatever. But in case people do not know the NHL playoffs format, could you briefly explain it to us?
Absolutely, yeah. It's very similar to the NBA format, if you're familiar with that. 16 teams qualify for the playoffs, broken into an Eastern and Western Conference. They're seeded according to their regular season record and wins, overtime losses, that sort of thing. And then they play best of 7 series throughout the entire tournament. So first team to win 4 games in a series obviously moves on to the next round. And there's one winner that comes out of both conferences into the Stanley Cup Finals, which is sort of the pinnacle of the hockey world. I think even if you're from Europe, you're familiar with the NHL overall.
Hmm.
Many NHL players are from Europe, and that's sort of it's the best quality league in the world. So it's definitely worth checking out at some point.
Yeah. As growing up, did you play ice hockey? I know my husband did. I think he broke his nose about 5 times. He's got a bad back as a result. But yeah, he grew up on ice. Did you?
Yeah, actually, I have 2 younger brothers. My middle brother was actually the first one who my parents signed up. We were in a shop buying rollerblades for the family. He was about 5, I was about 7, 8, and the guy at the sport check or whatever said he's a natural skater. And so my parents actually registered him for hockey for 2 years before they thought, okay, maybe the older one should get a shot as well. But yeah, played 15 years of minor hockey and then played a little bit of junior C, which isn't that great of quality, but I miss it for sure. I definitely miss it.
Well, so reading your article now, we've started. If you head on over oddsmarket.com forward slash or tips forward slash hockey, we've got now in the roundup you're breaking down the Eastern Conference, the Western Conference, and we will be also supplying tips as well for that during the playoffs. But in one of your articles, you say that this tournament is a marathon. Why do you say that?
Yeah, so the regular season ends, as I said, on the 6th. The playoffs start on the 9th, and the teams that reach the Stanley Cup Finals play until the first week of June. So they've got an 82 game season between October and April, playing almost every 2 to 3 nights on average. And then they play alternating nights through 4 best of 7 series over the next, 2 months. So it really is an endurance test, and the teams that sort of can roll with 3 or 4 lines tend to have the best chance because their players are not fatigued. Well, I mean, everybody gets fatigued to a certain extent. Everybody gets injured. The guys often, as soon as teams are eliminated, will talk about the injuries that they actually played through during the playoffs. So um, a marathon is a fit analogy, and it yeah, that's about the best way to describe it.
Now, 7 of the 8 matchups are known in the opening round. Were there any teams that you didn't think that would make it this far?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, going into this season, everybody sort of has. But one team that certainly was off everybody's was the New York Islanders, and last summer, the New York Islanders lost their best player, John Tavares, to the Toronto Maple Leafs, and that it was the biggest acquisition of the offseason. And they signed the Stanley Cup winning coach from Washington, Barry Trotz. He's an excellent coach, but it was thought, maybe that they would have some moderate success. They'd, do okay through patches of the season, but nobody thought that they would not only qualify for the playoffs, but actually make it through the division spot, not the wild card. So the New York Islanders out of the East, certainly off everyone's radar. In the West, I'd probably say Colorado, maybe. I mean, Colorado made it in last year. They got eliminated in the first round. They're sort of a team that has some nice pieces. They have one of the best lines in hockey of McKinnon, Landeskog, and Rantanen. But defense-wise and goaltending, they don't really impress that much. So it's purely with work ethic and just coming to play every night that they've qualified. Now, I don't expect the same things from Colorado that maybe the New York Islanders could do. But yeah, both teams, I don't think too many people thought would be in the playoffs this year.
Yeah. Now, obviously, Tampa Bay, you mentioned in your Eastern Conference preview that they are the team to beat after the season that they have had. What makes them so good, and do you think the odds on them are justified?
Well, Tampa is in a position to sort of have one of the best seasons of all time in the regular season. They broke 61 wins last night, which is just incredible. And in 2005, there was a lockout year where a salary cap was instituted. So all teams were sort of given an even playing field as far as what they could pay for players. We've seen it in other leagues. So for them to have such a dominant season in an era when everybody is thought to not have more than anybody else is truly impressive. Now, the one thing that I'll say here is, although they have the best offensive depth of forwards, they have some excellent veteran leadership. Steven Stamkos has been with the team for, I think 2008 he was drafted. But in that time, they haven't won a cup. So they've been here many times. They've had many excellent regular seasons, but then they've come across another hot team in the East or a very good team in the West and failed to make it work. Now, I don't think there's value on them to lift the cup. I really don't. My best bet for Tampa would be them reaching the Eastern Conference Finals. Okay. I should say potentially winning the Eastern Conference Finals, but it depends who they face. I do think they'll make it to the third round, but they're overvalued. Everybody has eyes on Tampa. You don't want to bet on teams when the market is sort of fully saturated and everybody's on that one side. So you want to find, the dark horses or teams that get hot during the playoffs. So although I think they're the team to beat, I am not ready to put my money on them on the futures.
All right, so they are the team to beat, which leads me to my next question is there any value in sort of dark horses? Are you looking at any, or is just Tampa Bay, if they're the team to beat, are you just staying away from that market?
Well, I've considered a couple options here. I haven't obviously taken anything yet. There's a few teams that are being overshadowed. I wouldn't call them dark horses, but they're being overshadowed. So we know what happened up 3-1. Toronto made a great comeback to force a Game 7. And when Boston started their series with Tampa Bay, they were outclassed. It just looked like Tampa Bay was fresh. Boston won the first game and then got swept the next four. It looked like Tampa just had more tempo, more energy. It wasn't really a contest after that first game. So if it's a shorter series between Toronto and Boston, I think the winner of that could put up a contest against Tampa Bay. As well, there's a few teams that are sort of being overlooked in champions who beat Bay in the Eastern Finals last year, and they had a good season again. They won their division. They've got most of the key pieces. They got a new coach, obviously, but Holtby's been steady. They've sort of just had a good enough season to get the job done. They've looked pretty impressive at times, but they don't have everybody's attention because they didn't have the season Tampa Bay did. In a 7-game series, though, I wouldn't put Tampa Bay as too heavy of favorites here, given that Washington has beat them. They know how to beat the depth of the Tampa Bay Lightning. So still have Sidney Crosby, Evgeny Malkin. I mean, these are 3 top offensive weapons in the league. Anybody would be happy to have them on their top line. So again, if Pittsburgh gets hot, you still can't save Tampa Bay is going to run over them. So I'm really just sort of going to be looking at the early rounds and trying to assess, how are teams winning games? How are they going to match up against the Bolts?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, looking at other outrights, Calgary is matched against the 8th seed Colorado Avalanche, and obviously favored to win the West. Is there value there?
Yeah, Calgary, it's an interesting team. I mean, I'm going to be completely unbiased, honestly, even being from Edmonton. There's a great rivalry there, but it's been very lopsided in recent years, so I've had to watch Calgary have pretty good success. Calgary had a great regular season. I think they're going to struggle against the winner of the Sharks Knights. And even Colorado, I know Calgary swept the series with Colorado this year, the season series. But Calgary's goaltending has been an issue all year. They're saying they're going to go with Mike Smith. He's a veteran of the playoffs. He used to face enormous shots against, and he did excellent in Phoenix. But I don't know, Calgary, they have to show it to me first for me to say they deserve the price they're being given as well. Both the Sharks rosters and the Knights. I mean, the Knights last year went all the way to the Cup Finals with being a completely new team. I think these teams can challenge Calgary, and because of the season Calgary had, they're going to be the price as a favorite here. So in all, of course, we want to always find the winners, but you always have to take into context the price that a team is being given to achieve that goal. So if it's going 7 games, you don't really want to have Calgary as a 1.4, 1.5 favorite on the series. It doesn't make you feel good to know that they're one bad sort of bounce away from being eliminated. So again, Calgary, we see it often. Regular season teams that have sort of rolled all season, they get overvalued headed into the playoffs, and everybody starts at the same level. They need 16 wins to lift the cup. So don't jump on the Tampa Bays, the Calgarys too quickly, I would say.
Yeah, well, which leads me to my final question here, that we do commonly see underdogs get quite far in the competition, often a good way to sort of hedge your bets. Or is there anybody that you've got your sights on right now? Obviously, before the playoffs, what bets have you made, or that our viewers can certainly look at ahead of the playoffs?
So I haven't actually made any futures bets this season on the playoffs, and that's typical for me. I usually do like to wait till this time because we don't know, for injuries, for one reason, what's going to happen, and we see huge odd fluctuations throughout the season. So it's not too late to get in at this time of year. As far as underdogs that could go far, teams like Montreal, who still have a very slim chance to get in, or Carolina, who secured a spot last night. These are teams that have been playing playoff hockey for weeks now. They have been grinding out wins against better opposition who have sort of been able to coast. And those are the teams that can really present a danger, I guess, to favorites that you might have taken earlier in the season. Even like the Dallas Stars, they're coming in at the 7th seed, and they've down style, be high offense style hockey. They've been playing a shutdown form for weeks now as well.
Yeah.
And if they get hot goaltending, they've got some, Sagan, and they've got some great pieces as well up front. These are teams that you want to just be cautious of betting against because, again, a hot goalie, a hot line, good penalty killing, just getting the right composition at the right time of year can sort of throw the playoffs wide open. So I would take serious looks at some of those 7th, 8th seeds to, get 3 wins or maybe upset a series. As I said in the article, President's Trophy winners like the Tampa Bay Lightning, they don't have a near perfect track record in the playoffs. They've been more likely to get knocked out in the first round than to get to the Stanley Cup Finals.
Mm-hmm.
So keep that in mind. It's not a foregone conclusion that we see, Calgary Tampa Bay final.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. So just to end this segment now, I'm just having a quick look at our content schedule for next week. Obviously, playoffs start 10th of April. For those wanting some help with their betting tips, when are we going to see your articles on oddsmarket.com?
Yeah, so I'll start hitting lines on late Saturday night, early Sunday morning when the first futures are released, and props and series lines for the Stanley Cup Finals. So I'll have articles out on Sunday for those, and then my actual series bets for the West and the East will be out Monday, Tuesday.
There we go. All right. So that was Adam Booth for NHL Stanley Cup Playoffs. I'm very excited actually about the series. Always a fun time of the year. We are actually moving, whilst we have him on the line, CSGO Esports. Esports now. So obviously this is part 2 of the Star series. We discussed part 1, heading now to part 2. Who has impressed you so far?
Well, I would have to say the one team that's really caught my eye was Fnatic. We talked about them this year at the major. They got literally nothing done. Then they went to WSG. They lost to G2, I think, in the quarters or semifinal. I want to say, somewhere quarters or semifinals. But they've just underachieved so far with some of their new pieces. Their strategies didn't look good. They seemed uncoordinated on CT side, but they've turned up mightily in Shanghai. And I've sort of I was on them today against North, which was another team that's been a pleasant surprise a little bit. And Fnatic's CT sides are they're the best at the tournament. They look hot. They've been working well as a team. Some of their sort of up-and-comer players like Brolan and Twist, they're hitting their shots, and the veterans, JW and Crims, they're on fire right now. They look excellent, and they're actually priced as an underdog in the semifinal tomorrow.
Yeah.
That's starting, I think, at 11. Would be 5 a.m. Eastern. No, 6 a.m. Eastern, I think, is approximate time. So, but it's good time for us Europe people. So I can't believe they're an underdog against NRG. They beat NRG already this series or this tournament. So I think there's immense value on them here. I expect that line to come down if it hasn't already. I took them at 2.0 at Bet365 earlier today, and I tweeted out about it. But that has been Fnatic's been a pleasant surprise. Then we've got in the last quarterfinals beginning tonight, we've got Ents and Na'Vi.
Yeah.
And this is a rematch of the major semifinal where they upset Na'Vi, and it was quite a series. Navi players have been tweeting out that this is their time for revenge. They know that they were embarrassed by Ants. Ants is a pretty young team from Finland. Navi is a team from the Ukraine and Russia. And this is going to be an intense series. Navi is a moderate favorite at about 1.7 across the board. And I think that's fair. But I'm leaning towards an over 2.5 maps here. I'm gonna have to break this one down a little bit closer tonight, I think, but I'll be tweeting out a pick on that one. But I do like the price on Ents, but knowing that Navi is gunning for them and they've got the best player in the world, Simple, that's a dangerous prospect to go against.
And that's and Ents is at 1.7, is it? That's the price.
No, Navi is at 1.7, so you can get Ents as a slight underdog here.
And that's what you're leaning towards Ents, are you?
That's right.
Yeah. And do give Adam Booth there a follow. It's Lock E Qwerty, LOCKEQWERTY. Then follow his tips that he posts there. So obviously we've talked about the ones that are have been a surprise or are sort of leading the way, really have impressed. Who has underwhelmed in the competition?
Well, NRG, actually. The funny thing is I took NRG, so I had a little mishap, and I apologize to anybody who was looking forward to a CSGO article today. I misread the schedule being, I talk about how esports is great because there's tournaments 24/7. Well, the tournament in Shanghai, I got my days crossed, and I thought it was beginning, the quarterfinals beginning tonight at 5 a.m., not earlier today. So the article, I realized my mistake about 10 minutes before and sent it to some friends so that they could benefit from it. But as it turns out, so I got a winning ticket on NRG as a slight underdog against Vitality. But NRG looked terrible in their win. They really looked bad. And Reddit about how poor they were. It was one of the worst Counter-Strike. People were really dramatic about it. But watching it at, I don't know, it was 5 a.m., 6 a.m., I was thinking to myself, I can't believe I'm still awake watching this. I might as well just go to sleep. It's not worth the time to watch. But NRG did come through. They've had some players that have been a bit on fire. But I really don't think that they have what it takes to beat Fnatic at the moment, and I also don't think they're deserving of the favorite price. I think that's the more important criteria here. Yes, they could still beat Fnatic, but the odds don't justify playing them. So, so of the, and then in the other semifinal, we're going to have Renegade.
I think we may have lost Adam. Did we lose Adam, Rafa? Yes, we did. All right, we are going. That's a shame, really. I will speak with Adam to post his final plays. That was my final question. What are your tips? And he has gone just to the most important. Oh, I'm getting a message. He's going to try and call him back. The one question that I need to know. What are your tips? I want to play some. So let's see if he's going to come back. Is he back there? No. Should we move on to Christian? Yes, says Rafa. All right, Rafa's the boss. On to Christian we go. Oh, Adam is back. Adam is back. Very quickly, Adam. I think we've had a few connection problems with you today, but very quickly, whilst we end our esports betting segment, give us some tips. Give us some tips. What should we pull the trigger on right now that you like?
Okay. Fnatic. Take Fnatic money line. I really think that they should be the favorite here. I know the odds have been moving a little bit in their favor already, so I would take Fnatic as a slight dog. At pretty much every book that I saw, they were a slight dog. And then I'm leaning towards the over 2.5 maps in Ents versus Navi. And I'm leaning on Ents, but I haven't actually taken a shot there yet. So those are my bets and leans at the moment. And if I make anything official, I will tweet it out later today.
There we go. Lockie QWERTY. Give him a follow. Adam Booth.
Sorry about the internet problems. It's probably the UK internet.
It's Friday
who knows what's
night.
going on.
I'm guessing it's Friday night. Everyone's home watching Netflix or whatever, or
Yeah.
one or the other. That's what I'm doing tonight anyway. Hey, quickly, sorry, before I let you go. So I've started watching Game of Thrones again. Started. Yes, I know. I'm on season 1, episode 8, and yeah, we're gonna do the marathon, 67 hours. So I'm 7 hours in. I got 60 hours to go. I told my husband. He was just like, "What?" He's like, "We can't do this, Natalie." And I'm like, "No, we're doing it. We have to do it." So I was thinking about you on that one. So I had to let you know, Adam. It's been an absolute pleasure. Best of luck with your bets, and we'll check in with you next week.
Thanks so much, Nat. Look forward to the rest of the show.
All right. A man I'm very excited to speak to now. His name is Christian at All American CFS. He is a full-on Chelsea supporter, and the idea he is not a tipster, a punter, but he has some great Chelsea insight. And there's still some bets that can be made around Chelsea, how far they will go in Europa League. So we're going to speak with him now, and just get a feel for this season's Chelsea side. Christian, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me. How are you?
I am very well indeed. Now, very quickly, you also have a podcast of your own, because when we were doing the test with you and everything, I was like, this guy, because a lot of guys that come on do video for the first time are a little bit nervous, but I wouldn't say that about you. You're quite confident.
Well, I will. How about this? I give off the illusion that I'm quite confident, but inside I am going a mile a minute.
well, you pull it off very well, I have to say. All right, so we've got a few questions here that we've got to. Actually, very quickly as well, if people want to follow your podcast, you post it all. It's All American CFC. Is that right?
Yes, my Twitter handle, which you can go there and find everything you want to. My Twitter handle directs you to everything you want to go. All American CFC. My podcast is on every single podcasting platform: iTunes, Google, Spotify, anywhere you can find a podcast, with the exception of SoundCloud and YouTube. You can find it. All American Chelsea podcast. Mm-hmm. I'm still. I just recently launched my YouTube channel, but I'm taking it baby steps at a time. I've just recently figured out, I should say I feel confident with my audio piece, and we're moving on to the video piece. So by this summer, the YouTube channel should be rocking and rolling.
Nice. Listen, Christian, we're gonna have to just call you straight back. Apparently, we've got a connection issue with you as well. When we did the test, you were crystal clear and you're a little bit blurry. So Rafa's gonna give you a call back. There we go. Not having a few connections issues today. Never mind. So yes, we are going to talk about one of the questions, interestingly, and it's actually been like a topic on everyone's mind, is Chelsea sort of appear to be struggling. But in saying that, he's back on there. How's the signal looking, Rafa? Good. I get a thumbs up. Let's have a look. Can you put
okay, no. I look way better now. I can even see it on my end.
Yeah.
Much better.
All right. Yeah, that's, to be honest with you, you look like how I see without my glasses. That's how that is my vision without my glasses.
You're nearsighted.
Yes. Yeah. I can't see long distance. The whole world is a blur. Whole world is a blur.
Absolutely, me too.
Right. So one of the first questions, and sort of Googling this around, now a lot of people are sort of saying, like, all the questions is, why is Chelsea struggling this year? It looked like the manager was going to be sacked. Sorry. There's questions whether he is going to be sacked. But if you look, they're still in 5th. They finished 5th last year. They've got more wins last season. Obviously, we've still got a few more weeks to go. Are they struggling? Have they struggled in segments? What's happening?
Well, overall, yes, they've been struggling at times. Right after, I would say right in January, right around there, end of December, January, they went through a rough patch. They really did. But most of the time with Chelsea, December tends to be our tricky period. In England, they don't get in the Premier League. They don't get a winter break as they do in other leagues. So I think fatigue sets in with these guys. We're coming off of a World Cup summer, so these guys like Eden Hazard and N'Golo Kante, Olivier Giroud, they've played a ton of games. We had Cesar Azpilicueta played. It felt like he played every game for the last 5 seasons in a row. Like there's fatigue issues. You had also Maurizio Sarri. He was announced. He only had 6 weeks to work with half of the squad.
Yeah.
So it was just a lot of factors, a lot of variables that went into, I believe, our rough patch. And overall, we've come out of it. Like last weekend, what was it? On Sunday when we played Cardiff.
Yeah.
We had a lucky moment that, I don't know if you saw this, but they on Monday Night Football, they went into a VR view and the linesman was blocked. It couldn't see the pro was blocking his view. So things like that have helped us out. Like we've gotten lucky, and so I at times we've had rough patches and then luck goes our way.
Nice.
It's just one of those things.
Yeah. Well, obviously, one of the sort of situations obviously has been the transfer ban. Do you think that they will be able to delay it and sign anyone in the summer? And if so, who would you think that they need to sign?
Well, we'll find out April 11th. April 11th, there is a meeting between Chelsea and FIFA that, fingers crossed, I mean, best case scenario, FIFA drops the ban. Most likely scenario, hopefully they postpone it. They did it there's precedence for it. They did it for Atletico Madrid. They did it for Barcelona. I believe there was a situation where even Real Madrid had a postponing of the ban. There's other clubs that have had just a postponing of the ban where we do get the summer. If we get the summer, we're definitely going to be looking for a striker. Absolutely, we need a striker. Our striker situation has been a disaster ever since Diego Costa left us. I mean, the back end of the 16-17 season, he went a few months without scoring. In the 14-15 season, he shot off like a rocket, and when we won the title, and he scored us 20 goals before December, and then he went quiet on the back end of the season. So, I mean, we really hadn't had a reliable striker since Didier Drogba. Guys like Fernando Torres, Morata. So we're definitely going to be looking up to shore up the striker position. We have Christian Pulisic that's going to help us out on the right wing, but we also need right wing help. Outside of that, we need help out on our left back and our right back. But outside of that, we really, in my opinion, we don't need to spend much money everywhere. We need to buy right in of just 2 positions really, and then after that, maybe a couple squad players. But we really don't need to buy too much. Now, if we do get the ban, we have guys like we would be looking at. I'm sure they would recall Morata. We have that's playing at Atletico Madrid, and even then, I mean, he leaves a lot to be desired. We have Tammy Abraham playing for Aston Villa in the Championship. Because their colors are very similar, I always get their names confused. We have Tammy Abraham playing in Aston Villa. We have Timmy Bakayoko playing at AC Milan. He's doing fantastic over there. We have Kurt Zouma, that's playing for Everton. He's playing well for Everton. So we have guys that if we get a ban that are out on loan that we can recall and come back. We have Reece James. Reece James is a youngster. He plays in the Championship right now for Wigan. He's somebody that we don't need to buy a starting right back. He plays right back. We don't need to buy a starting right back. We can go ahead with Cesar Azpilicueta and have Reece James come in because right now Reece James, I'm telling you guys, Reece James, the same along with Callum Hudson-Odoi. We all know Callum Hudson-Odoi's name because of Bayern Munich's interest in him. Reece, that we will know. Everyone will know in the Premier League. If his talent if he continues to progress, he's right now tearing it up, lighting the championship on fire at 18 years old. Hopefully he comes in. Articles have already started coming out that Chelsea is looking to promote him into the senior squad next season. But if he's somebody that we can absolutely lock up that right back position, and we don't have to buy him. He's right there. That's the frustrating thing with Chelsea. We've had an article came out. No, I shouldn't say an article, but a Twitter thread came out by a good friend of mine, Alex McGovern, and let me just give you some numbers. Over the last 4 years, Chelsea has spent £693.3 million, right? Out of that amount of money, we've had 3 guys come in that have been contributors: Pedro, N'Golo Kante, and Ethan Ampadu. We've had 8 okay signings and 17 busts. In comparison, at the same time, you've had Man City has spent £734.74 million. They've had 13 successful buys, 3 busts in that time. You have Liverpool 1 year ago, in the January transfer window, they sold their best player, Coutinho, for £150 million. Didn't miss a beat. Spent almost $700 million. They spent £500 million, and they've had a ton of great buys. So Chelsea's issues come from the board. It's from the top down. So, in spite of all of that, we're still in 5th, 1 point behind 3rd. So, I mean, it shows you our squad. And then let's not even talk. Oh no, I look blurry again. Put your glasses on, Natalie. I'm blurry again.
I know. I think Rafa wants to try. I think Rafa wants to try and call you back 1 second to see if we can get it. We can get a better signal.
Yeah. I don't know what's going on here. Call me back.
Blaming my glasses. They're on. Yeah. So obviously, next question I am going to ask is because Sarri right now I just looked at the odds, and Sarri to be the next manager to be sacked is 2.5. Yeah, we're gonna. You are back. I was gonna say blaming my glasses. They are on, Christian. I now obviously got I've got a couple of questions for you before we wrap up. But what we'll do is we'll try and get you back on again soon, maybe with a better connection, maybe inside with an Ethernet cable or something like that.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Rafa's giving me a thumbs up on that one. But listen, I've got a few questions that I must ask before I let you go. Okay, so we're called Sports Bet Daily. Could be us. Oh, could be us too, apparently, Rafa says. Okay. Well, we had problems with Adam as well, didn't we? So we can't, yeah. Anyway, listen, couple of questions. Obviously, the name of this show is Sports Bet Daily. Now, you are a Chelsea fan, you are not a tipster, and but I'm gonna ask some questions. So Sarri has got the shortest odds to be the manager to be the next sacked in the Premier League. His odds are 2.5. So, do you think that he will be the next manager to leave post? Is his position secure in Chelsea? Should we look to backing Sarri to be the next manager sacked?
This is a very tough question. I'm not gonna lie. This is tough because
I'm putting you on the spot.
I mean, theoretically, we finish top 4, we win the Europa League. You would assume that his job is secure.
Yes.
But will be a very big deciding factor, because if we get a transfer ban, Sarri's gonna have to work with his current squad and the youth. And he has had a track record, especially even with this year, that he doesn't necessarily look with Callum Hudson-Odoi. He hasn't really been treated the youth well, so it's gonna be tough. I personally, I believe. I want him there, and I believe he will be there at the start of the season. Now, how long after that, your guess is as good as mine.
Mm-hmm. All right. No, that's a good answer. Good answer. Now, obviously, there's another market here which you can bet. Premier League top four finish. So you've got Tottenham and Arsenal are the favourites. They're very short odds. They're not worth betting on. You get 1.36, 1.44. So looking at the top, do you think Chelsea have any chance of ending up in the top four?
Absolutely. I'm very confident that we're going to finish in the top four. I really am, because if you look with all our problems, look at our remaining schedule.
This season.
Absolutely. Let's look at the remaining schedule, right? I'm pulling it up right here. Chelsea matches. Okay, we have to play West Ham. That's going to be a tough game, but whatever. Then we finish off the season with Burnley, United. We drew against United earlier this season. We should have beat them in the FA Cup. We absolutely should have beat them in the FA Cup. So I'm confident that we can beat them. We've always played United tough, but United's gonna be a tough game. Man, Natalie, why'd you put me on the spot here? I was 100% sure until I looked at the matches.
I don't know, to be honest with you, because, you've got Tottenham, which are having a very good season. They've got 64 points, Arsenal 63, and then Chelsea 63, Manchester United 61. They've got to be the likes of Arsenal and Tottenham. Well, Arsenal. Don't know. Just saying.
I don't know. I would say this. I was
gonna pull the trigger on the bet then, because you sounded so confident in the beginning.
Personally, I am very confident that we will finish in the top four. But in our position, we need to finish in the top four for what? To be in the Champions League. We can achieve that objective one of two ways: finish in the top four or get the Europa League. So, really, if we're looking. Does Sarri and the squad and the trainers and the managers decide to take the foot off the gas for the top four in the Premier League? Like, what do we do here? And the same thing, I think Arsenal's still in the Europa League. Arsenal's still in Europa League.
Yes,
they play against Napoli next.
Yep.
So, Arsenal's the same thing. United, what is United gonna do? United, they're still in the Champions League. They're playing much better. I can't take that away from them. So I'm confident Chelsea are going to be in the Champions League next season. How about that? I'm 100% confident in that. Because we have two ways to get that done. I really am.
All right.
But how the top four is going to shake out, that's going to be tough. I don't know how anybody's going to make a bet there, who the final four are going to be.
Yeah, I don't. And then you've got the bet as well not to finish in top four. And Chelsea are one of the favourites to not finish in the top four, priced at 1.57. We will meet again, Christian, at the end of the season and see what happened. Moving on, though, to the Europa League. I'm just going to pull up the odds for this one. Now, what do you think their chances are in the Europa League? Last time I checked, Chelsea are the favourites, 2.88. Napoli, second favourite, odds of 5. Arsenal, odds of 6. So, what is Chelsea's? What do you think of Chelsea's chances to win the Europa League?
Let me give you you tell me what I'm about to say.
Yes, you're going to say yes. They're going to win it. And then they're going to get their spot in the Champions League, and they're going to win that too.
No. Well, yes, we are. But listen, look at what we have going on for us. We beat Arsenal early in the season. Yes, they beat us in the second game. Absolutely. However, we did beat Arsenal, and I do believe we are playing better now. So that's a toss-up game. But against Napoli, who's our manager? Who's best? Who's going to know how to beat Napoli better than Maurizio Sarri? You know what I'm saying? Like, I like our chances there. So in the final, if we see Arsenal, I like our chances there. And if we see Napoli, I like our chances there. It's not like last season where we would have to play against somebody like Atletico Madrid. You know what I'm saying? Like, I agree with the odds. I really do like our chances. I really do like our chances. I would say this: if there is a line on if Chelsea in the, I would 100% bet on that.
If Chelsea,
there's a line
if
for Chelsea to be in the Champions,
Chelsea to be
in the Champions League next, yes, I would say that's a good bet. Bet on that because we got two ways to get that done: Europa League final and the Premier League, which I believe we're going to be in the top four and we're going to win the Europa League.
All right. All right. So if people want to follow you, I'm just saying, Rafa, we're gonna have to get Alex on the line now, if Rafa can hear me over in the studio. And if we want to follow you, like we said, at All American CFC is where we follow you. How often do you do your podcasts?
Most of the time, absolutely. Once a week, I upload from Sunday to Monday.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm a dad. I also own my own business, so like I was supposed to do a podcast. We played this week, but I had to go to a client.
Yeah.
So I couldn't record another one for this game for the last game that we played against. Jesus Christ, who did we just play? It was Cardiff.
Let's have a look.
Don't tell me. The name's coming up right now. Brighton. Brighton Hove Albion.
Yeah.
So
3-0 win.
So, yeah.
3-0 win at home.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it was a good confident win. That.
Starting 11.
Yeah.
We got our starting 11 that we wanted. So if Sarri keeps that 11, I think we're gonna look good going forward. So.
All right. Listen, I've got to wrap up. Here, we've got Alex on the line here, going to run through. He's got 3 weekend trebles to deliver to us. But Christian, an absolute pleasure talking to you. I really hope that Chelsea will end up in the top 4 just for you. But let's catch up. Let's catch up shortly, and certainly at the end of the season as well to discuss Chelsea further. Best of luck with your team, and it was great chatting with you.
Absolutely. Great talking to you as always.
All right, we're going to bring over Alex. Not that he needs any introduction. Alex from Need for Tips. He does over on odds markets. He does and he's killing it, to be honest with you. 100 units of profit, Mr. Need for Tips. 100.
No, really?
Yeah. I knew you were coming on. I wanted to see. I was talking with Jimmy the Bag, and I said, God, Alex is killing it. Yes, you are, my friend. And I said, because you said you wanted to reach 100 units of profit. You're 100 units of profit. You have given, since the beginning of the season, which was in August, 1,240 picks, 661 wins, 547 losses, an ROI of plus 7.3%. 7.3% of you. So basically, you'd have made 7.3% on the money that you had invested on Alex's tips with a profit of 100 units.
That's a long-term game, and you bring me after Christian, who is a great guy, who is a funny guy. Now you have to hear my Eastern European accent, a little bit of the Russian accent, Romanian accent, all together. But I'm great. I love my accent, and I will not give anything for my accent.
Jimmy thinks that you've got the best accent ever. He says that you just sound like that you mean business, and he's like, I love Alex's accent. Yeah. Now listen.
Yeah, and you forgot to mention because we are doing the Accas right now. You forgot to mention around 30 units of profit with the Accas since the start of the season because we didn't add them on the record. So if you put them all together, that's 130 units on Twitter, on the Best Bet show, on the Champions League show, minus Europa League because we forgot to keep track of our records, but we did perfect also that time in that competition, which that competition will follow next week. So stay tuned because Chef Michael is back with us to preview the Europa League matches next week. Of course, with Natalie on the Sports Bet Daily. And we are back with the Acca Bets for this weekend. We killed it in the midweek.
I know.
2 winning Accas out of 3, 4.11, 4.68, and 1 lost. I think that all 3 of them lost in the winner one. This is why for this weekend I replaced the winner Acca with the over 2.5 Acca. What you say about that?
I know. I was going to ask why you have replaced. Also, Alex does Alex's 2.0 video on Odds Market YouTube channel as well, killing it on that. It's a sort of an almost daily, isn't it? It's almost daily. Sometimes you miss out Monday Monday gets missed out sometimes, but it's an almost daily. It just didn't sound so good on the thumbnail. Almost daily 2.0, so we just called it daily 2.0. And yes, so again, killing it. It's basically normally it's a double bet of odds of 2.0. And anyway,
2.0 over and over. 2.0 and over.
And over. So please start us off. I'm actually going to bring it up. I had it written down somewhere. Please start off. So you got 3 trebles broken down into both teams to score over 2.5 and the weekend treble.
Yeah, exactly. Weekend treble, which is winning for the last 3 weeks in a row. I think that is, I don't know, it's one of my favorites. This weekend treble, because I can combine them how I want them. You know, I'm not using this pattern.
You could do all of them how you
wanted.
Winners,
Acca.
It's your segment of the show.
Yeah, absolutely. But you know me, I need a name for everything. So I cannot name all of them. Weekend treble 1, weekend treble 2, and weekend treble 3. I have them in patterns. Both teams to score over 2.5 and the weekend treble.
All right. So start us off. Both teams to score. Acca, total odds of 4.12. Alex, what have you got?
We've got Everton versus Arsenal at 1.54, and Arsenal, they are so bad on the road, but they are very good scoring lately. So I love both teams to score here, because Everton are a decent home side, and they should be able to find the back of the net against Arsenal, who are always struggling away from home. By the way, Arsenal has just I was listening to your conversation with Christian. Arsenal have the worst end of the season, because just 2 of their last games are at home. The rest are on the road, and we know Arsenal on the road. So I would not be very surprised if Chelsea will finish in top 4. So maybe that will happen. Next on the list, dear Klassiker from Bundesliga, one of my favorite leagues this season. Bayern Munich versus Borussia Dortmund, a match which might decide the title in the German top flight league. Dortmund 2 points above Bayern right now, but Bayern are at home. Bayern are forced to win this match. If Borussia Dortmund wins this match, they will win the title, because I don't think that they will drop 5 points in 4 or 5 matches till the end of the season. So I have both teams to score, because in Germany nobody will stay to defend a draw match. So both teams to score at 1.53 for this both teams to score Acca. And last one, but not least, Barcelona versus Atletico Madrid, both teams to score at 1.75. Great odds for both teams to score there. I think that 9 from their last 11 matches, 11 head-to-heads ended with both teams contributing on the scoreboard. Barcelona have a Champions League. Yeah,
unders. Possibly a 1-1 draw if we're going to follow trend.
1-1 draw. 1-1 draw, but come on, be with me there. Both teams to score, please.
I took the bet as well on bets. I'm always with you, bud. I like the bet. I like the bet.
Okay, cheers for that. I have a gin tonic with me here, so cheers.
I'm a few hours behind you, but yeah, I haven't drunk at all this week, but I'm gonna have one to celebrate that it's Friday. But we digress.
Well, Capor is asking, is saying that he needs another 100. So what's good? Yeah, last season we had this 10 bets, 10 Acca. Yeah, and which won at 142 total odds. So this season we stopped doing that, and we're concentrating on winning more Acca bets, not just 2-3 in a season, but 2-3 week in and week out. So this is why we are doing this. So I'm done with the both team to score.
Done. We're gonna have some graphics soon. We've got something in the studio. Apparently, it was our end. It looks like it was our end. But yeah, Rafa, if you want to when do you want to bring the graphics up, Alex? During we could have actually done it whilst you were saying it would probably been a good idea. But I could see now. All right, so here we go. Both teams to score graphic. Here we go.
So Everton versus Arsenal, both team to score 1.54. Bayern versus Dortmund, both team to score 1.53. Barcelona versus Atletico Madrid, both team to score at 1.75. Total odds 4.12.
Nice. That's the first time I've seen that graphic as well. It was a new graphic for Sports Bet
Nice.
Daily. Yes. Okay, so done the both teams to score at Acca. Now we have got over 2.5 goals, Acca.
Yeah, I replaced the winner Acca with the over 2.5 goals because I really love the over 2.5 goals. Plenty of those. This is why I'm going with my beloved Eintracht Frankfurt on the road at Schalke. Over 2.5 goals at 1.87. I think that if we risk it a little bit, we can give Eintracht on their own over 2.5 goals. I think that the odds are awesome for that tip. I think that I will play it with half a stake, Eintracht to score over 2.5 goals in the match. But for this treble, I will stick with the whole match over 2.5. So Schalke Eintracht over 1.5 goals, over 2.5 goals, sorry, at 1.87. Second on the second selection of this treble, Inter Milan hosting Atalanta in Serie A. Inter are coming after a great 4-0 win against Genoa away, but also Atalanta have the best attack in Serie A there, and I think that they will try to maintain it like that. They beat the record for the first time after 85 years. A team scored 4 goals in the first 15 minutes of the game. That happened yesterday in the 4-1 win, Atalanta versus Bologna. So it was 4-0 after 15 minutes of the game, after 85 years in the top 5 European leagues.
Yeah. No, I know. I saw that. You posted it, and you were like something like, "Thank you very much." Next, and then somebody wrote like, "What did something like? Was it like who did Atalanta?" They were out for revenge, basically. Who pissed them off? They
who pissed them off, something like that. Yes.
Yeah. All right, and then the third one, and Rafa, if you want to bring up the second graphic.
Well, Celta Vigo versus Real Sociedad 1.9. So this total treble is at 6.57. So I will repeat: Schalke versus Eintracht, both team to score at 1.87. Inter Atalanta over 2.5 goals at 1.85. And Celta Vigo versus Real Sociedad in the Spanish La Liga over 2.5 goals at 1.9. I will take them also as single bets because the odds are amazing. Celta Vigo, I want to finish with this treble by saying that Celta Vigo are fighting to avoid relegation there. Iago Aspas just returned from injury 2 rounds ago, and he already scored 3 goals and delivered 1 or 2 assists, I don't remember correct. Real Sociedad won very nice yesterday against Betis 2-1 at home, and they are just 6 points behind the first European position. Top 6 almost in each league are qualifying in the European cups. Either is Champions League, either Europa League. So huge fight. The 2 teams who are fighting for 2 different stuff. So all in for them over 2.5 goals at 1.9.
All right, and finally now, which is your favorite? The weekend treble. Oh, and I just did you see? I asked Nolly Knowles on chat. He should do us an unders treble to accompany your overs treble.
Yeah, absolutely. I love the unders from Nolly. I think that he knows what he's talking about. He's capping different sports and he's just using unders. I'm following him on Twitter, and I'm also tailing some of his bets, so he knows what he's talking about. So, but he better not go against me.
I know, that's what I was thinking. Please. Can you imagine? All right.
Okay.
Weekend treble.
Weekend treble. I have 2 bets from Eredivisie from the Netherlands, and 1 bet again from one of my favorite leagues this season, the German Bundesliga. I have Gladbach, Borussia Mönchengladbach, the whole name. For the people who know what I'm talking about, Gladbach. So I have Gladbach versus Werder Bremen. Werder Bremen, who are one of the teams who have scored in every single game since the start of the season across all competitions. They are just brilliant. I love them. I love watching them week in and week out. And I think that they will continue on. They will extend their great goal scoring form there against Gladbach, but I think that also Gladbach will find the back of the net because Werder are scoring, but they are also conceding many goals. So both teams to score at 1.57. So the two selections from Eredivisie, Willem versus Ajax. Ajax Amsterdam, 2 points under PSV, top two places in the standings there in the Netherlands in their domestic league, in the top flight league. Ajax versus Willem. Willem, a decent side who are scoring goals and they're playing also home. Ajax are conceding many goals if you are watching them, but they have a great squad and they are scoring goals for fun. So I'm going over 3.5 goals there at 1.68.
Yeah.
And last, again from the Netherlands, PSV on the road at Vitesse. Listen, the fight is huge there. PSV are 2 points above Ajax right now with few rounds to go till the end of the season. They lost their head-to-head 2 rounds ago, and they had 5 points at that time, so the difference is now only of 2 points. They travel to Vitesse. Vitesse, not a bad side, but PSV should be able to deliver again, and the odds also for a single bet are great. 1.75 for PSV to win on the road against Vitesse. At total odds of 4.61, the free bets.
Wonderful stuff. So yeah, great odds as well there. All right, so those are the 3 weekend Acca trebles from Alex. He posts and goes into some more detail as well. If you were unable to write it down for whatever reason, go into. In fact, actually, I will even post the link because I have it open. There we go. He posts one every week. Next week as well, we have got a really busy week, obviously with Champions League and Europa League. So on Monday is going to be Europa League and Champions League over at Sports Bet Daily. We're going to do it on here next week. And Alex will also give an Acca Bet as well for the Champions League and Europa League, which is all played on Monday. So come join us then. And Chef Michael, as Alex was mentioning, will be on Monday. So excited about that. And then on Tuesday, we have a really busy day. We have 5.
Wow. Yeah.
First time we're doing 5 clips. Yes. We have UFC, we have esports, we have Chinese GO, we've got American GP, and Alex's Acca. No, I'm reading the wrong one there.
No. You have Ed Hawkins.
I have Ed Hawkins. Yes, we have got cricket.
IPL
We've got NHL
2019.
playoffs. We've got World Championship, US Masters, and darts on Tuesday. So it's another action-packed week for next week. But Monday, obviously, is when we will discuss all our Champions League and Europa League content. 3:30 p.m. Eastern Time or 7:30 GMT PM there. Once again, Alex, thank you so much for putting so much effort. These picks are free. He does the research by himself and he comes on and delivers them forever free at Need for Tips. Thanks, buddy. Have a fantastic
Forever
weekend.
free. Cheers. Have a great weekend, guys. Let's see only green. All your tickets to be green, and see you on Monday with Martin, with Chef Michael, Champions League, Europa League, and the midweek Accas.
Yes. All right. Best of luck, everybody. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you on Monday.